Hello, and welcome to an overview of some of the keys that can help you to transform your life. Whether you'd like to restore energy, uh, awaken more calm and clarity, um, to have a sense of evolving uh, in your ability to create. Um, a life that feels meaningful and work or contribution that um, feels aligned with a deeper purpose. Um, I'm going to be sharing with you some not only information but some practices that you can explore now, and then also invite you, if this is interesting, to attend, or really to join, not just attend, but to join a free experiential challenge. And there are other workshops and retreats also coming up if you are ready to dive deeper. So, this special training introduction is to help you show up and shine more fully in your life, and also to reignite your spark. If you've been feeling exhausted, stretched thin, scattered, or weighed down, um, sometimes we can be in places where we really feel broken or lost. Um, and I know what it's like to be in spaces of wondering if it would be possible to um, heal or to renew hope and a sense of possibility. And the good news is that life is always changing. And even if you feel like you're in a dark space or feeling stuck right now, that change is possible, transformation is possible, and with whatever it is that you're wanting to transform, um, it's important for you to know that that possibility does exist for you. And um, and also in those spaces of life where we may be wondering um, how to start, especially when there seems to be so much change, like challenging things happening in the world around us. um, it really helps to connect within, and um, we can actually connect much more deeply within in experiential processes that can be easy, although there's a lot of effort in our longer term transformation for sure that's needed on a daily basis. But there are ways we can start to experience reconnecting, even in simple processes. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Jill, and I've been really curious and passionate about healing and transformation, exploring the mystery and deeper meaning of life for most of my life. Um, and also I invested a lot in exploring different processes, systems, um, for discovering how we can grow into answering the calling. If you are someone who has felt like that there's something inside whispering to you, nudging you, or sometimes more loudly calling you to that there's something else maybe to create in your life, or um, uh, anyways, if you can relate to that, um, this is for you as well. Um, and as someone who, besides having that strong sense of curiosity and a sense of to grow into that calling. I experienced challenges with uh, my sense of belonging, like not knowing really where my place was in in wanting to find ways to contribute that were meaningful. And also as a fairly sensitive empath, although I didn't always realize that, um, and neurodivergent, I had, which is also something that has been in more recent years, became uh, discovered. Um, but um, discovered that there was a tendency to always be looking outside of myself and to easily get scattered in attention and in attachments that weren't healthy. So I know what it's like to get very stuck. And I'd like to share a little bit of some of the things that I've learned that can be helpful while I'm also in the process of rebuilding again in a new phase of life. So for this process, when we're in a stage of transformation, um, if you're wanting to move not just into like sort of more achieving success in the material sense, but actually wanting to really become more connected to and embodying more of who you sense maybe you that there's other things that you have inside, like to be able to share your gifts and essence. Um, it requires us to learn to tune into dimensions of ourselves beyond the surface personality, and learn how to also work with our energy um, and essence. We can explore our inner system um, to help uncover some of the hidden dynamics that have been blocking our path, and then also release some of the things that have been in the way. And there are ways of approaching this as well that can be more fun and enjoyable as well. It doesn't have to only be sort of serious work, although it requires the prep and the preparation for this process. And this video is really more about preparation steps because there is an ongoing or unfolding journey. Um, but there are things that we can do to and ways we can learn to be that will support the process for deeper transformation. And these preparation steps are also really important to help save time instead of to sustain transformation instead of sliding back, um, even through the changing seasons of life. So, to begin, it helps to reconnect to the body in the present moment. So, to return to now, um, because many times when we're stressed or feeling uncertain, we can get caught up in our heads or in a lot of busyness that isn't actually supporting uh, forward movement. And to regain momentum and stay on track, um, being able to reset and sort of gradually also then rewire our nervous system um, through remembering our aliveness and practices to support our aliveness um, is very helpful um, uh, for our inner exploration work. And this can also be from a place of remembering wonder and exploring things that really feed our sense of aliveness and awakeness, that nourish our soul um, or our presence. And um, uh, and to bring healing to our inner system as well, and remembering our interconnection to the wider web of life. So to both to Mother Earth, and we belong in being here, but also with you are actually a part of an interconnected system. All of your ancestors, your family lineages form deeper roots that help connect us also to Mother Earth. And so, in one sort of on the three-dimensional level of our lives as an embodied being, it's very helpful um, to honor and see how we can restore our strength in receiving the flow of love and life that was passed to us through our family and ancestral systems. Um, and that we are not, as an embodied being, we are like a cell within the body of Mother Earth as well. So, widening our vision and remembering this interconnection can be very helpful. And you can imagine, in fact, that you are the same life force that creates and sustains your life. Is the same creative force um, of love that grows trees and spins galaxies. Um, that those same forces of nature, the elemental energies, are all also within you. And when we sometimes we forget this and we feel separate, but to pause and relax and even for a moment just to feel the aliveness. And I invite you to explore this with me. Feel the sense of aliveness, if you can, in your feet, or the feeling of connection of your feet to the floor. And then you can even sense beneath your feet to feel Mother Earth beneath you, or feeling how you are supported in your chair where you're sitting, or if you're standing. But sense of gravity, and allow yourself to be held. If you widen your perception, feel the pulse of aliveness within your own body, but also how this is part of, you are part of larger web of creation. And I find personally that this practice can be helpful to begin, um, although we'll move into also exploring the unseen world. Um, but to begin, it can help to arrive in the moment. And also, if you've been holding tension in your body or stress, then sometimes that expanded remembering of life can help us to relax. You don't have to hold everything up on your own or contain everything on your own. And in this process of returning into the present moment and feeling that interconnection, as you maybe bring your attention then also up through your body in a scan, noticing that you're here now, and the same way that there are in nature, there are many parts that make up an integrated system. Uh, Also, that you within you have parts, you have patterns of energy, physical sensations, emotions, thoughts. Um, there are different dimensions in your aliveness and your expression. And different facets of qualities, strengths, and gifts, uh, ways of being that you embody when you're at your best, times when you felt most alive, maybe creating with a sense of connection to something greater. But already within you, you contain uh, many aspects, like an inner garden that you can cultivate and explore to discover what it is that's wanting to grow or be born and emerge in this new season of life that perhaps you are wanting to move towards. Um, so there is a natural expression that can uh, happen through you. And pausing to listen and explore more deeply for what that is can be helpful. So, at the same time, for that process, it can be very helpful to set intentions. So, after we've reconnected to the present moment, um, pausing to notice your sense of aliveness and whatever is here and now, then to listen more deeply in quiet into the heart's field, to create intentions for what you would like to create in your life. Um, so, for example, if it's to restore energy or to get back on track where you've been feeling stuck, whatever you're wanting to create, but we can listen more deeply within. Uh, and even connect in an experiential way to stand in the field of potential of where what our heart may be calling us towards. Um, oh, excuse me. Because you already contain within you the level of energy in an invisible blueprint that's been with you from before birth, seeds of potential, um, sort of a guiding intelligence within your life that that calls you forward, and we can make space to listen to that. So rather than trying to figure things out when we're in, especially when we're in a threshold time, feeling that things are uncertain, rather than quickly moving into taking actions and looking for more strategies or information, especially if you've been feeling like you're drowning in information, um, it can, before we move into action and look for outer guidance, it can be helpful to also reconnect within. And um, so rather than trying to figure things out or setting goals from who we currently think of ourselves as being, because we can't often see what's possible within sort of our present state, can give yourself uh, sort of like it's giving ourselves permission to dream or imagine uh, what would be if most um, not only for our own lives, but in recognizing the positive ripple effect that we could make in the world. If you imagined yourself fulfilling on a deeper purpose or sense of mission, or growing into well-being and aliveness to a new level of energy, uh, imagining what that would make possible for your life. And it's time. Sorry, I'm just pausing for a moment. And, uh, um, I'll complete this briefly and then create some segments to move through of different um, parts of this training as an extended um, uh, process that you can work through. So again, we let ourselves have some spaciousness to arrive in the present moment. Even also in that process, um, sitting quietly and noticing uh, our capacity to observe in our environment. It's another thing that can, as a practice, that can be helpful. Appreciating beauty, um, whether it's looking outside through your window or even noticing colors or art or shapes and things around you, maybe with new eyes. Just exploring if there's something that your eyes are drawn towards. And giving yourself permission to pause in different ways to reset can be very helpful. Remembering the breath as well. Even enjoying the sensation of breathing, just noticing subtle sensations of how the breath moves through your body. And then creating clarity with intentions and expanding our vision in co-creation with sort of how our soul or our life force, our soul's potential, the seeds of our soul's potential, or life force may be seeking to be expressed in the world in a new way, um, without needing to um, have it sort of, again, not needing to figure out exactly what that would look like, but instead listening within. Some of the things that can help for this process, you can remember a time when you felt alive uh, in your expression or connected to something greater. You can ask your heart and then listen for a quiet answer. Is your heart really longing for now as a deeper yearning and impulse? Sometimes we have flashes of dreams or inspiration that arrives that surfaces again over time. These can be clues to something that's calling us. And also even just giving ourselves permission to dream in a bigger way. If we could create a contribution in the world, feel meaningful for you, what might that be? And who would you be being for that, to support that? Sometimes when we feel drained or fatigued or experiencing feeling lost or stuck in our lives, we've forgotten to allow ourselves to open our vision. Uh, we can get stuck into a very narrow focus when we're in more of a fight or flight reactive process. Um, or there can be patterns surfacing that are in the way. So allowing ourselves to pause and reconnect, to recenter um, through simple practices, and then clarify our intentions, or if you already have intentions that feel clear, but to remember to return to them to help stay on track. If you could, in your way of being, um, show up in a more expanded way, how would that feel for you? And then we can further listen to the voice of the heart through um, actually stepping into the field of um, the blueprint, the magnetic field of energy that your heart generates, that is like an invisible organizing field. Um, that this energy field that sustains your life and surrounds you. Um, is also expressed through we can read it through the maps of our fingerprints, which are like energy imprints on the soles of your feet and on the palms of your hands, as well as at your fingertips. Like a torus field, um, that emanates from your heart and flows through you. Uh, your heart has this capacity to this field that your heart magnetic field that your heart generates interacts with to receive information from the world around you. So um, part of what connects us to the larger field of creation, and um, and there are archetypal patterns of possibilities that already we carry within this field. So with intention, we can connect to stand in or to step into, um, to tap into listening to this frequency, like the song or expression that your heart creates. And again, one way to think of this is that everything in nature has its own vibration and frequency. Um, and sometimes we've only really forgotten to listen to the song of our own blueprint. We've gotten lost in the outer noise. So, um, so when we create an intention to evolve or grow in our lives, not only for achieving material success, but to move into um, a new level of being and to fulfill on perhaps a deeper mission or restore our sense of energy and aliveness. Not only think about this, but actually feel it in an experiential way. And so your heart and your nervous system, your body we can open to be receptive to sensing this field of energy uh, through good intention to receive more understanding for our lives, for the greater whole as well, or how we can best embody our lives in a way that supports also the greater whole. And it's possible to, if you can't stand up for some reason, or if you'd like to remain seated, it's possible to also just open through your intention where you're sitting. For some people are quite visual and they can receive when they set an intention to listen to their heart's intention, the deeper calling that's there for your new stage of life of renewal in your well-being, your energy, or your um, empowering transformation. Some people can tune in just where they're sitting, and that's okay if that works for you. But it can also be helpful to stand. So if you're sitting one way, if you'd like to slightly move your position, you can sort of imagine yourself moving your chair into sitting in this new space of possibility. And another way to explore is through standing, stepping into the field. Um, Again, with the understanding that this is really exploring your inner system, something that already, the seeds already within you. For example, it could be the intention to more deeply hear or receive and experience the attention, the energy potential that wants to emerge in your life. That has been maybe calling you forward, even if you've been experiencing feeling doubt or feeling stuck. And so once you have a sense of how you'd like to word that for yourself, so we're wording our intentions in a positive sense, the outcome. And it can be as simple as just opening to the mystery, to step into experiencing connection with the field of intelligence that is guiding your life, to feel the energetic expression or vibration or frequency that is possible for you to grow into embodying. So even though we're stepping with our physical body and sensing with our physical body, this is a way of sensing into a dimension of our lives that has been invisible to us, even though it's been there all along. This is like stepping into your oak tree self. And in this process, as you step in, you are letting go of your thinking mind, of needing to figure things out. This is a practice of stillness and letting go of needing to do anything as well, and just noticing what is here and now as you step into this field, potential to listen for your heart's calling or deeper intentions. And just noticing how your body moves. If there is a movement that seems to arise naturally, sometimes this can be felt as a change in energy of like temperature, like different temperatures may shift. Sometimes people may notice subtler energy tingling in some way. Um, you may notice sometimes there can be a sense of opening. And what emotions, there may be an emotion, like a quality of a feeling state. And one of the things that I notice, have noticed other times as well as today, as an example, is that in my being, there's a sense of lightness, like a lifting up. My body actually physically starts to lift up, and my heart feels more open. There's more spaciousness around the heart. And a feeling of sort of quiet joy or happiness, like just in the moment, standing here. Just explore for yourself. This is, in a way, kind of like stepping into the deeper part of you that is already whole. State of being of an evolved part of yourself, as if you had been working on yourself for 1,000 years in growing spiritually and personally. That this wiser, loving, compassionate self already exists within you. We're opening the doors of the heart to and allowing ourselves to receive through sensing in the body the energy that's here. And then you can also listen deeply within. See if there are any images that arise, or sometimes a sense of clarity about something you've been thinking of creating, an inner knowing that might be present. And then another thing that you can explore is to notice if there's something that you are drawn towards in your physical environment that might also represent symbolically um, something related to your heart's intention for renewal in your life, in the places that you're wanting to make change. And so this could be anything from, and so again, for this process, similar to how we were listening for, is there a movement? Whether that's a sort of upliftment, or maybe you might feel sometimes a subtle shift to one side or the other. But you can also notice without trying to direct your attention, rather just asking, is there something within like your environment, or if you're looking out in nature where you are, that represents, or would, in a metaphorical or symbolic way, um, that could represent something related to your heart's intentions and what's possible that's been calling you forward. And then you just relax and breathe, not trying to change anything, and just notice where your attention is drawn. So, for example, right now at the moment, as I ask that question, my head turns towards the right side. And towards a sort of a painting that's on the wall. There are different colors and shapes there. It's called Journey Within, the name of the painting. So, but it might be, it could be that there's a certain color your eye is drawn towards. There could be a shape, a movement in the picture, maybe a title of a book, something in nature like a bird, a cloud, so like an element of nature, notes that you have. Could be many things that you might notice, but just exploring, and then you can, whatever you notice, that if there is a movement where your attention goes towards something that might symbolize, or there's something that comes to mind for you, maybe it's not right in your physical space, but something that could symbolize your intentions, to represent sort of what your the deeper seeds of your soul's potential are moving you towards. Notice what that might be. And then you could reflect about what that might represent for you. So it's something you can work with over time as well. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. And then it's also possible to explore our inner world through looking at the maps of our hands and fingerprints, which show different dimensions of our life expression. So I was speaking about how we can explore in the field of energy, which might be related to the map of our fingerprints. And then we can also explore in a similar way the qualities of gifts or strengths that we carry within our embodied home, of our three-dimensional physical sort of level of our life, and how our life force energy is also maybe wanting to seek to be expressed through different channels and different qualities or gifts that we carry as well. Because we have all received from our ancestral lineages